Nigeria was not designed to work. I have a document here that predated Nigeria. In this document, and there are some of us in this audience who have seen it, the principles by which the foundations of Nigeria were laid are listed here. From that time, this document predated 1914, and everything we lament now, which have been made permanent by the constitution we have their foundations in these principles. So whether you were looking for how this marginalization came, our people resisted them. Other people found a way to bend to them. Our people fought them frontally. King Jaja of Opobo, Spanish, he died in exile. A whole number of other people. Ojukwu's grandfather was hung in Nkwonewi to show example to the other smaller paramount rulers of the time who were saying, you can't come. And the British took special care to work out a containment plan. Incidentally, the most important things they came to look for in Nigeria are in our own part. And how do they take that thing without talking to us? That was the reason the Union was floated in the first place. As a British enterprise. I'm sure some of us have been to Owerri here before. I'm sure we know the place called Shell Camp in Owerri. I'm going to give you just like 5 examples of things you didn't know about. It doesn't matter how old we are. Because those who negotiated independence with Nigeria, in course of this research, we sat down with them and found out that our fathers did not know. And if our fathers did not know, how will we then know, how will our children know that these things were designed to be so? So it's not by accident that we find ourselves where we are today. And what the Lower Niger Congress and its associated platforms across the country had done was to form a consensus of their grift, to get to the root of that matter and either make Nigeria our project or dismantle it to free all of those who are trapped in it. We spent 15 years trying to make it work. And we created that consensus by calling everybody. I'm sure some of us had Pronaco. I was talking about Owerri so that we don't forget. There's a place called Shell Camp in Owerri. It's still there. If anybody is aware of what I'm talking about, I want to hear the voice of that person. Is there a place called Shell Camp in Owerri? Does anybody here know that Shell was headquartered in that place for 42 years? Moving to Port Harcourt in 1960. The compound that was that Shell headquarters and residency is today divided into several facilities. It was Emma Obara that bought the property in 1960 from Shell. The hotel, the Mod Hotel, I don't know what the name is now, is in the gate area. The whole of Government House in Owerri is inside that facility. The whole of Avani Koku was inside that facility. The medical facility after Alvan was inside that compound. That's on one side of the road. On the other side, all the way, including the mobile police camp. Therefore, what was Shell doing in that place for 42 years? Building that massive infrastructure, leaving for Port Harcourt in 1960, if the story of oil in Nigeria began with Oloibiri in 1957. Do the arithmetic. The oil here was used in the First World War, in the Second World War. I left the oil industry in 1998 from a senior executive position in the upstream. It was the documents I saw by which Shell was operating that made me throw in the towel. At the time I left that job, I could go to work in the morning and sign off on things of $2-3 million for people who will make profit of $200,000-$300,000 in a matter of 2-3 weeks. And I will never meet them. I'm only looking at my computer to decide who can deliver. That was the kind of job I had to leave. Because it dawned on me that we had to recover this land. And God so kind, all kinds of things you think they happen by accident. No. I read physics, and chemistry, and mathematics, and all of the sciences. And I had gone off to the NDA to be trained as a jet fighter pilot. It was from that NDA that I came to the university. At the time, I ended up in law. I didn't understand the head and tail of how, with all these physics and chemistries, I'll end up in law. But until my final year, there's a course of law called jurisprudence. I'm sure there are some lawyers left here. Anyone? Good. There's a course called jurisprudence. That jurisprudence is the science of law. As I speak with you today, the last jurist Nigeria had was Chukwudifo Oputa. There's no jurist left, even in our Supreme Court, and I've said this right to their faces at a valedictory session. I said, there's no one of you here I can come to canvass and appeal before, because there's no jurist left amongst all of you. And it was more than, it was 1995, 95. What was my reason? What we have as constitution, which we all have to obey now, cannot, amongst lawyers, be called constitution. Because constitution is like the memo and articles of a company to a company. The constitution to the country is like the memo and articles to the company. And the reason I came to Enugu today, I flew into Enugu this morning. I've not had any sleep for 9 days, because there's an action that is in process. With no apology, there's nothing I've said here that I've not said on national television. There's nothing I'm going to say here that has not been discussed face to face with the people who sit in Abuja to pretend there's a government and governance and Nigeria in place, including Buhari himself. I'm sure some of you heard about Pronaco. I'm sure some of us heard about Pronaco when it happened. We are face to face now with the author of that entire thing, because we were looking for how to build a consensus to solve this problem. And we caught the whole of the country, 164 ethnic delegations that sat down for 2 years, sitting in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Enugu. Enugu, there's a place in Emene, the priests have their, that's where we sat. Ojukwu, Enohoro, Shoyinka. We got to the root of the matter, got all of those involved to come to be part of how it is solved. And we reached a consensus to return the autonomy to everybody as we had it before '66, as the minimum condition for carrying on as a union. What were we looking for? The thing that Nigeria threw away in Aburi, we wanted to bring it back. Bet that if it will not come back, then we'll wind up the union, not to pretend that we have a union, which for us is a union of death, a union of attrition, a union of master and servant. And where we are now is that consensus has grown teeth. And that teeth is in the form of the Yoruba. I'm sure some of us saw them in September of last year when they went out to say that they've rejected this constitution as basis of Nigeria. The eastern side, including the Niger Delta, the organization I'm secretary to, Lower Niger Congress, is the whole of the greater eastern Nigeria. That's old eastern region with the old western, midwestern region as ethnic nationalities, because we cannot deal with this matter in any other formation successfully. Our quarrel, which has been resolved now with those who are shouting Biafra, is that there's no map to it, to the Biafra. Every map you bring in the name of Biafra has controversy. Biafra was declared on the 30th of May in 1967. 3 days before, Lagos announced the creation of a River State and Southeastern State that have become Akwa Ibom and Cross River today, such that you go to where you want to solve the problem at the UN, the people of River State or Akwa Ibom will be telling you that they were not in your eastern region that became Biafra on the 30th of May in 1967. And as mischievous as it may all be, it will be factually correct until you find an answer to it that is satisfactory to them, which was why the LNC started by going around to sit down with them. We went to the JAW, the ANANG, the EFIC, and they bought into it to say, we will be a region of 70 million people standing together to recover what Nigeria took from us. And if others are willing to walk along, the Yoruba will have no quarrel with, the Middle Belt will have no quarrel with. The only problem is the strange civilization Sharia, and then 12 contiguous states, the Caliphate. And if anybody says we don't have a problem emanating from that, that person needs to do some more study. Between them and the British joint venture, they don't belong here. They came by jihad, they got the northern part and had it for 100 years before the British got here. They came from the Atlantic front, conquered and deceived. They met halfway in the Middle Belt area, the Lorry-Benue axis, and like two robbery gangs, after one target, they formed a joint venture to capture that target and share the benefits. That was what became Nigeria in 1914. That caliphate was part of how it was all worked out. We were not told until it was announced. It was resisted here, but there were Dobas up north in Sokoto and Zungeru to celebrate that merger. And that joint venture is still taking 3 million barrels of crude oil every day, ready to kill whoever stands their way. That was what consumed 3.5 million people in Biafra. That's what led to all the arrangement to tie us up and down. 80% of the oil Nigeria is selling today, Umanu Igbo. Has anybody been to Bonny here before? Has anybody been to, with any other language in Bonny? Okrika, Degema, and all of it. So what they did in 1960 was to begin this pretense that there was some Niger Delta somewhere. Yes, there's a Bonny language, there's a Jaw language, but in all of what they have put together to divide up that place so that we're not on speaking terms anymore, it's just to make sure that we're not able to even know what is wrong with us. And therefore, we've come to where this constitution will go down. Those planning elections on it, those planning to renew it for another 4 years by holding elections on it, are going to have to contend with all of those who have repudiated it. Those repudiations were not matters of accident. They were worked out, programmed, and sold to the grassroots. And today, while they plan their election, the reason we've been in one retreat after the other, those who are going to make things happen in their places, we say, we will not accept one more electoral round to renew our enslavement for the same reasons. Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo, Nelson Mandela, Governor Mbeki, and all of them rejected apartheid. There was also the Bantustan regime in which some blacks in South Africa were persuaded to take it slowly, like some of our people talking restructuring. Let's go, take whatever we can find and not die. No. We say this document will go, and our strategy for shooting it down, because it's been talk and talk, nobody has seen much of action. The action around it is that those who reject it are rejecting election, and if elections are shut down, this document will not survive another month from the point that happens. And we're talking about 2018. We know security people are here. In fact, some of them are streaming live to Abuja. But it doesn't matter. We are convinced that it is within our reach to shut down this instrument of enslavement. And that was why we had to identify with the ADF when they said that our people are not in search of how to fix Nigeria. We want self-determination, that we reject this constitution as basis of Nigeria, and that we must go to a referendum to decide whether we're going with Nigeria or